This video follows from my video titled Ultimate Character Farming Guide: The Basics, and is best viewed with the companion video Ultimate Character Farming Guide: Light and Dark Side Battles. It covers character shards I recommend farming from Cantina battles, with a particular focus on early level and mid-level players, although I do also briefly cover endgame farming. I do my best in these videos to narrow things down to the most essential characters so you don't stretch yourself too thinly. The Cantina battles start to unlock at level 8 and require Cantina energy, that orange lightning bolt. Remember not to let your Cantina energy be maxed out for very long, as the flow of free Cantina energy provided by Capital Games pauses when it's full. Also take advantage of bonus Cantina energy provided by Capital Games by logging in and claiming it during special time windows each day. Check your notifications. There are a couple of differences between Cantina battles and Light and Dark Side battles, besides requiring a different form of energy. With Cantina battles, you can use mixed Light and Dark Side teams. With Light and Dark Side battles, you must use either all Light or all Dark Side teams. With Cantina battles, you can attempt or sim or farm a node as many times as you would like until you're out of Cantina energy. With Light and Dark Side hard nodes, you can farm a particular node 5 times per day before requiring crystals and of course more energy to try 5 more times. With Cantina battles, you get 1 Cantina energy accrued every 12 minutes. With Light and Dark Side battles, you get 1 energy accrued every 6 minutes. Cantina battles also yield Cantina battle energy, which you can use in the Cantina Battles store to buy additional characters and a few other items. Light and Dark Side battles instead yield gear and gear components. There is no accompanying store. See my Cantina Battles store guide for how I recommend spending your Cantina battle tokens when it comes to characters. Let's start with the earlier Cantina nodes. You can see the Light Side character prizes in blue and the Dark Side character prizes in red. You'll need solid teams for both, since you can only use Light Side characters in Light Side battles and Dark Side characters in Dark Side battles. Stages 1 and 2 and the levels therein are the cheapest at 8 energy per attempt, while the cost goes up to 10 per attempt for stages 3 and 4. This is demarcated by the yellow line between 2G and 3A. Let's start with my Light Side recommendations. An easy-to-farm scoundrel, Lando Calrissian, can help you to get credits in the reoccurring Credit Heist event, which is essential to sustaining your progress. So you'll want to do as well as you can in that event as soon as you can. Lando is also a rebel, so he can help you to unlock the all-powerful Emperor Palpatine earlier than if you waited to farm other rebels. You won't really use Lando very late in the game, so you don't need to completely max him out, but his earlier usefulness and accessibility simply cannot be denied. Check out my Scoundrel and Rebel faction guides for more details on those with whom you'll want to pair up Lando. I also really like Old Ben. As a Rebel, he can help you to unlock Emperor Palpatine. As a Jedi, he can help you to unlock Grandmaster Yoda. And he will specifically be required to unlock the amazing Commander Luke Skywalker. That, folks, is a threefer. Check out my Jedi and Rebel faction guides for more on those. But topping it all off, thanks to a reworked kit, Old Ben is superb as a tank who soaks up tons of damage on any Light Side team, but he shines even further on a Rebel or Jedi team, and not just early on, but throughout all stages of the game. And of course, he's one of the fastest, cheapest farms in the game, and he becomes even more farmable at level 22 when you gain access to the guild store. Do you really need any more reasons to get Old Ben? But there's actually another character here who provides just as much bang for the buck as Old Ben, and that's Ezra Bridger. This young man will take you very far. Like Old Ben, he's a Rebel and a Jedi, so he can help to unlock Palpatine and Yoda. And as a Phoenix Rebel, he can be used to unlock perhaps the most useful elite player in the game, Grand Admiral Thrawn. He will also be needed to activate the Phantom II ship, which is required to obtain the Chimera, the Thrawn-led capital ship that dominates the fleet arena. Topping it all off, Ezra is excellent in the squad arena throughout most, if not all, of the game. In fact, I recommend a Phoenix Rebel team as your main light side team, main squad arena team, and key galactic war team until the very end stages of the game, where Phoenix will still be useful in other areas. Overall, Ezra is a powerhouse on both Jedi and Rebel teams who will further help you to unlock even more success. Until the very end of the game, you can only farm him here, so make him a top priority for your Cantina energy, as well as your gear, ability materials, and mods. Now, I just mentioned my recommendation to focus strongly on a Phoenix Rebel team, and there's only one Phoenix Rebel with a leader ability, and that's Hera Syndulla. You can't make a Phoenix team work well without her. Like Ezra, she will help with Palpatine, Thrawn, and the Chimera, and contribute to an outstanding super durable squad arena and galactic war team. So she absolutely must be a high priority farm as well. She's not a Jedi, so she won't help with Yoda, so Ezra gets a slight edge there, but otherwise, don't let Hera lag much behind Ezra as one of your most invested in characters in the entire game for months to come. A little later, in the mid-game, you will need Resistance and First Order teams to complete the Speed Mod and Offense Mod challenges, respectively. For those, you definitely want Finn to lead your Resistance teams, and Kylo Ren Unmasked to lead your First Order teams. For most of the game, Finn will be your lead when you need a Resistance team, which will initially be when you want to complete the Speed Mod challenges. You will also need Finn to obtain the very powerful Jedi Training Ray towards the end of the game. He's not the most urgent farm here, but when you get to him, he's much easier to farm here than he is in light side battles. As for Kylo Ren Unmasked, who is a powerful dark side tank, this is the only place you can farm him. That makes Finn and Kylo Unmasked Tier 2 recommendations for your Cantina energy after the first 4 I called out earlier. There are a few other characters available here whom I would recommend, but who are farmable elsewhere, and I would farm them elsewhere so you can use your Cantina energy on the others I already described, who are only or mostly easily farmed here earlier in the game. Those other characters are Clone Wars Chewbacca, Jedi Consular, Biggs Darklighter, and Talia. Farm them from the light side and dark side battles first, and then farm them here further only if you've made ample progress on Ezra, Hera, Old Ben, and Lando. But I really wouldn't recommend slowing your progress on those 4. For the reasons why I recommend Chewie, Jedi Consular, Biggs, and Talia, watch the companion video to this called Ultimate Character Farming Guide, Light and Dark Side Battles. As for First Order Executioner and IG-100, I do not find them to be very appealing and would avoid them. There are better choices for First Order and Droid squads respectively. And now here's a quick preview of some other characters here you may eventually farm. You'll want to farm Farm Boy Luke here, as he is required for unlocking Commander Luke Skywalker. He isn't very useful otherwise though, which is why he can wait. Much later in the game, you may find Geonosian Soldier appealing for his ship. Scarif Rebel Pathfinder is a great Rebel tank who co-pilots a nice ship, but with Old Ben and Stormtrooper Han being required for other reasons, you'll be all set with Rebel tanks already. Very late in the game, when you make a big push to build a Night Sister team, Night Sister Acolyte will be a great choice, but you can also farm her elsewhere. You'll need Jawa for the critical damage mod challenges, but I'd wait as long as possible before doing that. Pat Blue is excellent for an Ewok. Translation, don't worry about him for now. Like all Ewoks, he's cute and fun, but ultimately optional. Moving on, we have the Cantina battle stages for mid-level players. On the light side, we see some repeat recommendations, Lando, Old Ben, and a little later Finn, but they can be farmed much faster on earlier Cantina battle nodes. Ditto for Farm Boy Luke later on in the game. Clone Wars Chewie, and later on for ships, Mace Windu, should be farmed on light and dark side battle nodes, not here. Barriss Offee is the only new light side pick from these stages. She's a Jedi healer with impressive use in endgame events and challenges. I suggest shifting your Jedi Consular or Luminara farming over to her. If you can't manage that, it's okay, Barriss can wait a bit, especially if you already have a full team of 5 Jedi that's poised to get or has already gotten Grandmaster Yoda and that can master the defense mod challenges. In that case, you can skip her, but if you do need a 5th Jedi, Barriss is a very nice choice. You can farm her here, on dark side battles, 5C and 5E, and periodically in the guild store. There aren't as many dark side options that are compelling earlier in the game, but we do have 3 of them here. The first is Talia, whom I recommend using as a healer for Darkside battle stages until you can farm Uldaka. However, Talia is a much faster farm via Lightside battles using regular energy, so I do not recommend farming her here using Cantina energy. Once you're far along enough with Lando to master Credit Heist, and you've gone as far as you can with Old Ben, Ezra, and Hera, then your next 5 to focus on in the Cantina battles include the aforementioned Finn, Kylo Ren Unmasked, and Barriss Offee, along with 2 other Darkside characters here. The first is Kylo Ren, the masked version. He's an incredible damage dealer, especially with a Zated ability. He's equally important as Kylo Ren Unmasked. Both work well outside of First Order teams too, and both have nice ships. They will anchor your First Order team for the offense mod challenges as well as for unlocking BB-8, who really makes resistance teams amazing. The other important Darkside character here is TIE Fighter Pilot. He's great on Empire teams, especially after you unlock Emperor Palpatine, and he can also help you to unlock R2-D2 and master the Potency mod challenges. Furthermore, his ship is truly excellent, serving on the front lines of the vast majority of top fleets today, so he will continue to serve you very well later in the game. If you're finding yourself stretched too thinly juggling 5 Cantina characters after the first 4, then I'd farm Barriss elsewhere and slow down a little on farming Finn. By this point in the game, you will have invested much more heavily in Lightside teams, and your Darkside teams will be playing catch-up. So you don't want to hold back too much on the 2 Kylos or TIE Fighter Pilot, who will bring a much needed breath of fresh, hate-filled air to your Darkside lineup. Make sure to farm Kylo Ren on 4C, not 6C, which is more expensive. Wedge Antilles is a great Rebel leader, but you will already have a good Rebel leader by this point. His ship is nice, so you may want to get him eventually, but he is optional. That may shock others, as Wedge was once dominant, but he simply isn't as essential nowadays. His lack of availability earlier in the game further weakens the Wedge proposition. Geonosians like the Geonosian Spy, droids like B2 and IG-86, and Ewoks like Chief Chirpa are all optional, as none of those factions or classes get you anything useful until very late in the game. There are better Geonosians and droids anyway. Sith Marauder and Count Dooku are decent Sith, but there are better Sith, and you don't need a Sith team for any events. Likewise, Count Dooku is a Separatist, but you also don't need a Separatist team for any events. Aayla Secura is a strong Jedi attacker, but you have a much easier to farm option in Ahsoka Tano, who also has a ship. I do not recommend Kit Fisto, who is a pretty weak Jedi. Things get pretty expensive for the last 2 sets of Cantina levels, costing 16 Cantina energy per attempt. That can translate to many months just to max out the star level of one of these characters, depending on how often you use crystals to refresh your Cantina energy. Lower level and mid-level players need not worry about any of these characters. The rest of the information in this video will pertain to high-level, late-game players only. But if you're curious, on the light side, Ima-Gun Di is useless, and I don't think you need to farm Jedi Knight Anakin, who is cheaper to farm elsewhere anyway. I like Captain Han Solo, but with plenty of rebels and scoundrels in your inventory, by this point, you'll literally only need him for one late-game event, so make him one of your last to farm. Plo Koon's ship is decent, but Plo Koon is not, so don't worry about it. You'll eventually get shards for those anyway through other means. That just leaves Veteran Smuggler Chewbacca and Veteran Smuggler Han Solo on the light side. Those 2 are specifically required to obtain Jedi Training Rey, one of the best characters in the game, but farming them will tie up your Cantina energy for many months, and they have no utility elsewhere in the game, so they literally are the last 2 I'd farm with Cantina energy, only after all of the other Cantina battle characters I've recommended are promoted to 7 stars. On the dark side, there are a couple of characters who can be farmed much faster elsewhere, Snowtrooper and Royal Guard, and 4 characters who aren't nearly impressive enough to merit the very exhaustive farm here, Tusken Raider, Night Sister Spirit, Imperial Super Commando, and Gar Saxon. Maybe after you've slogged through getting the 2 veteran smugglers and don't know whom else to spend your Cantina energy on, you could think about getting Imperial Super Commando and Gar Saxon, as they do co-pilot a pretty nice ship, but that ship is hardly required to succeed in the fleet arena. I do like Sith Trooper, who is a strong tank and somewhat popular at the moment, but Darth Sion is a much better Sith tank, so that lowers Sith Trooper's stock a bit. Sith Trooper is therefore a maybe one-day option after you've gotten the veteran smugglers. I like the remaining 2 dark side characters even more, with my top recommendation going to Death Trooper. A member of the Imperial Trooper sub-faction of the Empire, Death Trooper is a rebel-killing machine, and once you max out his Terminate ability, he becomes a critical member of an Imperial Trooper squad who will help you in multiple late-game events. On Empire teams that aren't focused on Imperial Troopers, he still does well, pairing especially nicely with Director Krennic, but Death Trooper is still well worth it even if you don't get Krennic. My second highest recommendation goes to Sith Assassin. She's a Sith team specialist, giving other Sith loads of extra turn meter. She can easily make a big difference on a Sith team, and she did so for me when I had a Sith Squad Arena team. I still use her in raids. She's not as good on other teams though. And that concludes my Cantina Battles guide. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of this video below. If you haven't already, watch the farming guide for light side battles and dark side battles, and then check out my store guide videos and my faction guide videos.